Although I am involved in citizens' movements, I present to you today in my capacity as a grassroots activist and a lawyer. I understand our briefing to be narrowed down to comments on the Electoral Amendment Bill. No questions asked, no questions answered. We are to ignore the presentation of alternatives like the People's Bill or the Majority Report. This leaves very little scope to present my views and brings it down to a race for numbers for or against the bill. To what end, I ask, if Parliament wanted to hear what the people have to say, it is not what the court ordered. The concept of public participation surely aims to bring your ear closer to the ground to hear what the people think. Parliament was given an instruction by the Constitutional Court to develop a solution that will give the citizens of South Africa the voice to be heard in structures of governance as per the Freedom Charter and the Constitution. South Africa is facing an existential threat. I need not expand on the state of our nation. The current system of governance has not brought us freedom nor prosperity. Equality is a foundational constitutional concept, a proposal that offers two vastly different weights of measure is clearly and blatantly unacceptable. It is not a solution. The attempts of the citizens to participate in the development of solutions have been rejected and sidelined by Parliament. I refer to the People's Bill. South Africa is blessed with a wealth of civic organizations that not only has the heart, but also has the expertise to assist Parliament to develop a real solution. Organizations like OTA, New Nation, South Africa, Sakeliga, AfriForum, Free Market Foundation, Helen Suzman Foundation, and many more. There are also several discussion documents that have proposed answers, such as the Van Zyl-Slabbert proposal, the People's Bill, and more. It is therefore puzzling to find do not choose to be part of a political party. Further, my assessment of the bill resonates with those that are saying requiring financial backing as a qualifying factor invites corruption. Here I agree with the ANC and the EFF's views that thousands of names on a ballot paper and unqualified individuals running Parliament will cause chaos. But then, that was never the plan. We need a solution that will identify qualified individuals, citizens with the required skills and motives, citizens that represent the various people groups and social structures, servant leaders that are not in the position in order to line their own pockets, and develop structures to protect themselves from accountability. My assessment also resonates with those that are saying, let our people access governance structures through smaller constituencies. We want to choose our leaders. Our leaders must be directly accountable to their communities. And finally, that the electoral reform must include an overhaul of the IEC, who has been called an arm of the ANC. It is the people's right to participate in the decision-making of governance of our country, and we request Parliament to take this opportunity to restructure our electoral system seriously. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Enkosi mhlali ngaphambili, igama lam nguKaren Johnson. Mna ndibona ukuba uMzantsi Afrika ukwingxuba kaxaka yokuba lilizwe elingenazo iinkokheli. Ipalamente kumele ukuba incedise uluntu kulomba. Izawuyenza le nto ngokuqinisekisa ukuba imithetho enje ijolise ekuncedeni uluntu lube neenkokheli eziphuhlisa uluntu, hayi iinkokheli eziba imali yamahlwempu. Besicela ipalamente isebenzise eli thuba yokuba itshintshe lo mthetho ujolise ekuncedeni uluntu, hayi abantu abangohlohlesakhe.
Manithathe lithuba ndizazise kumalungu epalamente ngokubanzi. Lo ngumncedisi wakwaMbengo phaya eChrisani, kwisithili sikaChrisani iregion, kumasipala wase-Enoch Mgijima. Apha ndimele abahlali bakuKomani, iKomani Civic Resident Forum. Malungu epalamente siyafuna nje ukunika i-advice before yokuthi njengoba bekujikeleza amagosa kwizithili zonke, siye sacela into yokuba noko khaniyiconsiderishe into esesenta okanye indawo emele nifikele kuyo, kuba siye sanento ethi sicinga into yokuba noko iKomani yeyona isesenta bekufuze uba kubanjwa lo msitho okanye nimamela izikhalazo zabantu, kuba sikholelwa ekubeni into yokuba abantu abaninzi bebethathe le ndlela ye-independent bakulaa ngingqi ba-more than 47 i-independent. Siyayicela ke ipalamente iyiconsiderishe loo nto xa ivizithi ikhangela indawo esesenta. Siyixhasa ngokwenene nangokwenyaniso mgcini sihlalo umcimbi womthetho oyilwayo enize nawo, sithi wuntshu kuwo kuba uyasincedisa ekubeni into yokuba abantu barhola iinkokheli ezomeleleyo nezinenyaniso nezawuqhuba umsebenzi wabantu. Kodwa nje kunesolotya phaa kupage 11 ndlu yowiso-mthetho yepalamente esirhalela into yokuba niwuqwalasele. Phaa kulaa 16 uthetha ngento ethi ukuba ngaba imibutho okanye abantu abangozimele geqe baye banezisithi ezilesi kwinani elifunwa indlu yowiso-mthetho, kungabehle mhlawumbi ezo sithi zingabikho. Sirhalela ke into yokuba ke nibuyele emva niyiqwalasele lo mcimbi wezasithi kwimibutho okanye kubantu abazabe bevotelwa ngabantu benezo sithi bazithumela epalamente zingalinganiyo namaqela amakhulu. Yeyona nto nje besizisile thina siyiKomani Civic Resident Forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. My name is Mncedisi Beyo from the Komani Civic Resident Forum. Today, I want to just highlight something before I proceed with my submission to the committee. May you please in the future consider a central place for hearings. I submit to the Portfolio Committee that Queenstown would have been a more central place for us as residents of this area to meet, as many of the people whom we represent could not be here today due to the logistical structural issue of this being a place that is not necessarily central for the majority of people. Please consider this in the future. Secondly, I fully support the bill, and I want to congratulate Parliament for embarking on this journey to allow for our democracy to come to fruition. We, as the Komani Civic Resident Forum, are saying that as it relates to Section 16, where you speak about the number of seats, may Parliament please reconsider the threshold of the seats, the number of seats which are required for independent candidates, because they might not be able to meet this threshold as a result of not coming from a big political party. This is the only submission that I'd like to make in relation to the bill, and may Parliament please consider this. I thank you, Chairperson.
Ndibulele emgcini sihlalo. NdinguThembi Nkosi Khotso. Lapha kule eKrisani phansi kweEnoch Mgijima. Ndisuka eStacksroom Community Organization bendizimele ndi-independent candidate. Qala uba ngaba ibinokwazi ukwenzeka kukuba uIEC isenguye kuba inguye isezawuba nguye ubindlela ibikhona kuni malungu eParlamente bendinovuya mna uba bekunokhe akabuyisa umva ke kukhangelwe enye ikhampani okanye abanye omnye indima enothi ibe yiyo ezawoyana nolwanyulo. Zizikhalo ke zibangela uba ndide ndiphakamise loo nto ndiyibhekise kuni malungu. Ewe umthetho lo uyilekayo wona ndihamba nawo ngoba ke uyasincedisa. Thina abantu baye bafumanise ngenxa yezikhalo sikhetha into kokuba masime siziziqu. Kodwa ke uyawuba usincedisi uba ngaba akunawuthi kube kumangezo okhoyo ngoba kube khona ukubulaleka kwi-independent candidates ngoba kuthiwe mazibe ne-party agent eyi-1 zongezeke zilinganiswe ne-political parties zingaphungulwa kuba abantu bezimele. Okwesibini, izinto ezifakwayo ngethuba lokonyulwa kwindawo i-voting stations bekunoba right ukuba ngaba bekunobakho ii-cameras ingasincedisa ukunqanda ukubiwa kwenantsika kweevotes. And neenqwele ezizawuthi zithuthe ii-ballot papers kuqiniseka uba zi-tracked and ziselusweni ngalo lonke ixesha kuphela ukunyamalala kweevotes ethubeni. Ndiyabulela.
This one. Oh, this one. She's a clerk. She's a so the students are both. Thank you very much, Chairperson. My name is Thembi Nkosi Khotso from Sterkstrom. I come here in my capacity as a person who has been an independent candidate before in the local government elections. In my view and my perception, I would propose to the committee that the IEC, which is our body that facilitates elections in our country, I would appreciate for the committee to consider removing the IEC and getting a different body to facilitate elections in our country. The reason for this submission is because I have many grievances as it relates to the IEC, as during the local government elections, there were things that I felt that as independent candidates, the IEC could not support us fully. In terms of the bill, I fully support the bill. I believe it assists us as people who are independent and not aligned to any particular political party. However, I feel that we are disadvantaged because we are being compared to big political parties, even though we are independent candidates. As an example, in the voting stations during the local government elections, we were forced to only have one party agent, whereas we did not have the necessary capacity to have multiple party agents to assist us as independent candidates. This served as a very big disadvantage. My proposal is that voting stations must have cameras to avoid the theft of ballot papers, and also cars that are transporting or traveling with ballot papers must be tracked at all times to avoid ballot papers disappearing and disadvantaging independent candidates. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Can we move on to the next speaker?
Molweni. Igama lam ndinguAnele Khethelo, ndiseKhrisani anda inokumgijima. Thina besawucela apha kwiParliament ikizame kwezi candidates independent. Most yazo ziyathanda umzekelo udistract icommunity ngenxa ingxaki zabo, mhlambe bephuma lo muntu kwi-ANC. Now ke ngoku uyozimela umbutho, then ke ngoku uzospoon feeder abahlali information wrong, then ke ngoku siwereze even kwi-community kuba kwi-distraction, kuba kwi-strike ezingacacanga, just because siyafuna nathi aba bantu ba-independent even bake bahlole uba ngaba nyhani basemthethweni uba baphathe abahlali. Because most yabo umzekelo umuntu une-aim ufuna uba yi-independent for urhwaphiliza, for ulahlekisa abantu. Ilo nto thina siphuma phaa e-weekly sithi yi-suggestion yethu uba nike niziqaphele ezi candidates zonyulwayo izingumbutho ozimeleyo, because ziyayenza i-distraction kwii-community zethu nge-false information. Ndiphinde ndiye phaa, kunyanzelekile umntu xa eyi-candidate engumbutho ozimeleyo aproduce ii-documents zakhe, because ngeze siyazi kweli xesha uba lo mntu lona uyi-candidate akanayo even ne-ID uba abelapha eMzantsi Afrika, akanazo ezona, but still unombutho ozimeleyo for uba ulahlekisa abahlali. Enkosi.
Thank you.
Greetings to you, Chairperson, and the committee at large. My name is Anele Khethelo. I am coming from Whittlesea under Enoch Mgijima Municipality. Chairperson, I stand here to support this Electoral Amendment Bill, but I've got few concerns regarding our independent candidates. Most of the time, they normally destroy our communities because they are unfaithful. And the community sometimes loses faith in them because of their actions. Sometimes you find that they are coming from another political party, and then now they want to stand as independent candidates in order to enrich themselves. Also, Chair, I suggest that their track record should be checked in terms of integrity and their past actions. And also, you must check their documents like IDs and other necessary documents so that we can be satisfied as a community, and to ensure that they are accountable to us. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to summarize after all of the presentations. So we're going to conclude. Is there anyone else that may have arrived now and wishes to make a presentation? Just raise your hand so that I can identify you.
Ingaba ke bakhona abafuna ukuhlomela abasandofika ngoku abafuna ungena komnye umjikelo ozothetha apha eqongeni bakhona nankuya. Sicela nisondele ngaphambili.
She changed her mind. She said she doesn't want to talk anymore. She said she doesn't want to talk now.
Ingabukhona basekhona abanye abasafuna ukuvakalisa izimvo zabo kulomthetho sikulomjikelo ngoku.
Thank you very much. We'll stop at the last speaker here. Thank you. You may proceed.
Mandizibulisele kumalungu eParlamente ndibulisa usihlalo wenhlangano ndikwabulisa nabasebenzi beParlamente ngokubanzi kwakunye nokuhlala kwaseKrisani ngokwendawo ke esiphuma kuzo. Igama lam ndingu-Axolile Masiza, ndiphuma eInokumgijima Municipality. Ndiphuma ndirepresenta abahlali bendawo endiphuma kuyo. Ndiyafuna ukuthi le nkqubo sikuyo it's long overdue. Ixesha lide kuyonakala. Lilide nje ixesha siye saziphilela singamaqumrhu athi amela abahlali. Asayenza lento ikwi-constitution ithi people shall govern. Now I believe into yokuba xa silapha emveni koku when this bill is passed into law iyakwenza uba sibuyele kundalashe othi abantu mabazonyulele umntu ozabakhokhela. Ixesha elininzi chairperson abantu bebezonyulela abantu but kubekho abantu abanyanzeliswayo kubo abangazonyulelanga bona. Ithi ke loo nto leyo iphazamise ukuza kwemisebenzi yorhulumente ebantwini. Ngaloo mazwi ndizama ukuthi ke ndime apha ndiyixhasa ibhili ndisithi untshu kuyo. Lixesha lento yokubana ngoku abantu benze lento kufanele ukuba bayayenza kuba ukuhlala kwethu kuyonakala. Akukho nto ingamoshakalanga ngoku ekuhlaleni kwethu. Kukho ke le ndaba yento yokubana le bhili izayo, as much as we support it fully, ndiye ndakhangela ii-disadvantages zayo nee-advantages zayo. Zikhona ii-advantages zayo, zikhona ii-disadvantages zayo. Ii-disadvantages zayo yi-competition eza kwanda. Eza kuthi loo competition xa isenzeka u-IEC esele kuthethiwe ngaye apha abe sesenta yaloo nto. Now ithi ke loo nto leyo I-competition lena izawucreatwa yile bill. Kwelinye icala it might lead kwinto yokubana kubekho ukubulalana okukhoyo before i-elections zisebenze. Sesiyibonile ke loo nto leyo kwi-political parties that are to lead abahlali. Babulalana bengakazi kuthi sibaxelele uba sifuna bani, but sebenqunqana. Now, zii-disadvantages endiye ndazijonga into yokuba kukhona ukwenzakala okuzawuba khona kuba i-competition le izawuthanda uba nkulu kunakuqala. Ndingamoshanga ixesha lakho sihlalo. Coming kwindaba yebhili lesingayo, I'm looking at page 15, point 34. Uti, in the event of a vacancy in a legislature in a seat allocated to an independent candidate, the seat in question will not be filled until the next election. As opposed to the political parties, which the political parties could point 33, Itiona, in the event of a vacancy in the legislature, a seat allocated to a political party, the party which the vacating member represented must fill the vacancy by nominating a person. I think we need to balance izinto here, because independence candidates, as is represent ukuhlala. When that member has been nominated kuhlala and kwenzeke into kuye, lilungelo le community to nominate a new person to fill that vacant there. Now, it would be something else only to political parties that they must fill and nominate abantu xa vacant ivela, but for independence, that vacant is officially only after another term ibuya. Dinengxaki naloo nto leyo inida ke ukulungiswa. Again, kwindaba ka page 14, designation of representatives of a political parties. Phayana kukho le ndawo ithi ku point 3 phantsi ko 26 number 26 sub point 3. If a party fails to indicate to the commission from which list a candidate will be designated or in which a legislature candidate will serve, such candidate's name must be deleted from all lists. This is only when independent candidates fail to notify a commission. But in Ayolea indaba, Chairperson, you need to revisit it. Enkosi kakhulu.
Thank you.
Greetings, Chairperson, fellow South Africans and honorable members. Chairperson, for record purposes, I stand to support the bill. My name is Akolile Masiza, coming from Mgijima municipality. Chair, I have a view that this procedure has been long overdue because things are getting worse in our communities. If this bill is passed, it will make people to have a say in terms of governance. But the other problem that we experience in our communities is that some candidates are enforced, and that is disturbing service delivery. When I look at the disadvantages, Chair, of this bill, one of them is that it will make competition. As you know that during elections, there are killings happening, and the candidates are killing each other. As I close, Chair, in page 15 of the bill, I suggest that we look at clause 34 in terms of filling the vacancies and so on. I thank you, Chair.
There was a reference made to two particular points. The one was because he made reference to two past.
Okay, mandizibulisele. Umnandi nguAbulele wakwa France eStextrom. Ndiphuma kwiStextrom Youth Development. Bendiziqatsile as an independent candidate kwezi local elections ezisuka kuyo. Phakla masipala wase Enoch Mgijima olapha eChrisani. I think in a New South Africa kubalulekile that silnikwe ithuba lokuparticipate kwi-National Assembly and also kwi-legislature singenelele sizi-independence. But ndifuna ukuthi nje bendiyisupporta le bill izawuamendwa, but what is important ingazi nee-catches, because apha sizawucompete with the big guns. Mhlawumbi big guns zine-funds, zine-fundings ezininzi, then thina we are independent abantu abonyulwe yi-community, because xa sinojonga nje besisuka kwezi elections mhlawumbi into eye yaphembelela that sibone kune-independence ezininzi is because mhlawumbi imibutho ekhoyo bezingekho i-public participations that thina singabahlali sizikhethele inkokheli lesiyifunayo but besiyinikwa. So ke ngase kujongwe also even besiregisterisha thina as independence ku-IEC so that sikwazi ungena. So ingase ijongwe loo nto ingasentlonti that sibone kunemali ezinkulu ekufuneka singenele ngazo iphethe loo nto isivala ekuparticipating kwi-elections. And I think also it is important that since we've been okanye benisithi sikule New South Africa i-change or to as South Africa a democratic country, so that it is allowed that singenelele nabani na une right and everything. I thank you. Spectrum Youth.
So if we need to do translation first before.
Yes. Abulele France, yes. Spectrum Youth.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Abulele France from Youth. I'm also a resident of Enoch Mgijima Municipality. I stand here to support this amendment bill on the basis that we are a new South Africa and it's very important for everyone to participate. Another concern, Chair, is that they must be lenient towards independent candidates because we'll be competing against big political parties. Therefore, the monies or the deposits that will be required of us, at least they must be lenient of us towards that. I thank you, Chair.
Enkosi kakhulu. Igama lam ndingumawethu Bango and suka kuwa 34 under Enoch Mgijima. Indawo ensuka kuyo ke iHofmeyr. Ndime apha nam ndizosupporta le bill. But ndifuna nje kuqwalasela okanye kuconsiderishwe izinto ezimbalwa because i-numbers ezi-requestwayo to participate kwi-elections because siphuma kwi-areas ezohlukileyo nangamanani. Icela nale yinto ezikeqwalasela. Okusibini, umba we-qualifications. Ndicinga into yoba umba we-qualifications awuzusincedisa kakhulu okanye nawo umba we-qualifications ngumba ofuna uqwalaselwa ngoba kwezinye indawo esuka kuzo sinabantu abakhulu esibathembileyo esicinga into yokuba ngabanye abantu abanothatha ilizwi lethu balibeke endaweni of which zange ba-obtaine i-qualifications mhlambi kwi-institution ezinkulu. Sicela naleyo iqwalaselwe. Okwesithathu, ndike ndabona into ethi before uparticipate as independent candidate funeka uqinisekise into yokuba within 3 months funeka ungena membership ye-political party ethile. Naleyo besicela iqwalaselwe because ngamanye amaxesha kuthi koyiwa ke-elections kungavanwa, then ke ngoku i-candidate leyo izawumela ozimele geqe bangabi nathuba ke ngoku lokuyifumana okanye mhlambi badlala inxaxheba. Okugqibela ndizawugxininisa nam kwindawo ye-vacancy. Ndicela i-consideration kakhulu indaba ye-vacancy because nxa unguzimele kunokwenzeka into yokuba mhlambi ungade uyofika kwi-term yakho, i-term of office, mhlambi kubekho loo nto yenzekileyo endleleni. Ndicela zeni i-consideration loo nto yoba sizivala njani esa space to avoid into yoba kuyiwe kwizinto zee-by-elections because iyakhosta into yoba izicandidate uconteste kuphinde vele kuyiwe kwi-by-elections. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Mawethu Bamba. I fully support the bill, but I have a few things that I'd like for the committee to take into consideration. Please take into account that the requirement of the numbers required for independent candidates can serve as a disadvantage for independent candidates because, speaking from my own personal experience, we come from areas that don't necessarily have those large numbers. Secondly, the issue of qualifications, formal qualifications, as a requirement for independent candidates. I think that this is a huge debate. I do not think that it is a disadvantage for an independent candidate to be required to have a formal education. However, I do believe that there are credible leaders in our communities that are fit to stand as independent candidates, but who do not necessarily have formal qualifications. Can the committee please consider this requirement? Thirdly, and lastly, Chair, there's a requirement for an independent candidate to not have been a member of a political party within 3 months at the time of running as an independent candidate. I want the committee to please consider this requirement because it so happens that in some instances, as the independent candidate, you end up leaving your own political party for reasons known to yourself and that particular political party. But I do not believe that this should disadvantage you if it is within 3 months. And lastly, the vacancy issue as it relates to independent candidates. Can the committee please consider how we can avoid having by-elections as it relates to independent candidates, because this can be a very costly process for someone who does not form part of a big political party. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much.
Ndibulise iParliament ngokubanzi. Ndinguxoliswa kwa 33 eTakastad. Phantsi kweEnoch Mgijima. Ngokuthi ulandele umbutho olandela abahlali, ngokuthi uhlukumezeke kumbutho okuwo ngaphakathi, uphethe uba yi-independent candidate. Then ke ngoku ngokwasemsebenzini uyahlukumezeka kuba ububoniwe okokuba ubulandela lo mntu ebezaba yi-candidate. Kulilungelo na iParlamente isincedise ukwenzela into yokokuba singahlukumezeki emisebenzini ngokombutho ophetheyo ngokwangoku, asenzele into yokuba singakwazi okokuba sibe namalungelo thina abantu bapha ngaphakathi sikwazi ukuzilwela.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. My name is Oliswa from Takastad. I want to register this to the committee that may Parliament please protect us from the ruling party so that we too as citizens can exercise our rights to be independent candidates. I'm saying this because it so happens that in some instances we are abused in the workplace for simply exercising our rights to be independent candidates and not form part of political parties. I'm directing this to the current political party which is leading today, which we often find abuses us and belittles us at work for using our constitutional right to be independent candidates. May Parliament please protect us from the abuse that we are enjoying. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Mandisa Kensley. I'm from SADA, Ward 24. Chairperson, we don't support the bill. Reason being, because of the independent candidates. Some of them, they don't meet the requirements that they are needed. So they tend to give false information to our people, especially our youth, so that they can follow them. So that's why we don't support it. And also, they're causing a commotion and a disruption in our communities, and also the confusion that leads to the killing of the leaders in our communities. And also, they also take advantage of our illiterate society, and they always leave our communities ungovernable. I thank you.
Thank you very much.
Molweni nonke, igama lam nguMandisa Kese, ndisuka eSADA. Thina asiwuxhasi lo mthetho kuba abagqatswa abazimeleyo abanawo lamanani afunekayo ukuze bazimele inene. Enye into esiyibonayo ukuba apha eluntwini aba bagqatswa abazimeleyo bayaphixanisa kwaye kuphela kukho uqushululo neengxabano ezininzi ngenxa yokuzimela kwabo. Enkosi kakhulu, mhlali ngaphambili.
Thank you, and now for our final speaker.
Let me greet everyone in the House and apologize ngofika late, and le nto le intenza into yoba ndingabikho comfortable because ndifike late kakhulu. Igama lam aliqhelekanga, ndinguzandi kwazi ndisuka eHofmeyer kwaWard 34 under Enoch Mgijima. Ndiyisupporta le bill kakhulu because le bill ivala igap between the political parties and independents, and le bill ivala again the advantage political parties ezinayo kunye phakathi kwazo ne-independence. Now, if we can check page 15, law number 1, which is talking about the seats. Overall, what I'm saying is the independents and the political parties should get the same treatment, the same rights, the equal benefits, because both of them are voted by the same communities. So I don't see why the political parties will get a particular advantage and then the independents are getting a disadvantage on the other side. What I'm saying is the Constitution talks about equality. Why now we are going to have the bills that are separating the political parties and the independents? And the independents should represent their masses in all levels of municipalities, even provincially and nationally, because those people were voted by the people that exercised their rights, and the citizens of South Africa, they want to be represented by people of their choice. So if a particular community or some people, they wish to be led by someone of their choice, they should be given that particular right. So what I'm saying is there should be no difference between the political parties and the independents. Hence, I'm supporting this Bill of Right.
Thank you very much.
Greetings, Chair and the committee. My name is Ikwazi Solani. Chair, I must admit that my name sounds rather unfamiliar. I am coming from Enoch Mkijima in Hoffman. Amongst other things, will close the gap between the political the bill will close the advantage that normally political parties are enjoying. Sihlalo, abagqatsi abazimeleyo mabaphathwe ngokufanayo kunye namaqela ezopolitiko kuba usection 9 womgaqo siseko uthi makulinganwe. Kwakhona abagqatsi abazimeleyo kufuneka bamele uluntu kwizindlu zokuyisomthetho zesizwe kunye nezephondo. Kwakhona kufuneka siqaphele into yoba aba bagqatsi abazimeleyo banyulwe luluntu, ngoko kufuneke basebenzele uluntu ngokubanzi. Enkosi.
First, let me just thank all of the speakers and their submissions.
We thank you for taking the time to be here with us this morning, and we also appreciate the valuable contribution that you have made. As part of a summary and giving you the process and the way forward, I just want to highlight a few points. Firstly, let me clarify that there is no separate bill for independents and political parties. There is one bill, which is the Electoral Bill, and now we sought to amend the current Electoral Bill so that we accommodate for independent candidates. And you will see on the summary of the bill, it proposes where we add independents. Previously, we only had political parties. So we had views that were supporting the amendments, or the Electoral Amendment Bill, and the views that were supporting it were saying this speaks about democracy and it allows for independents to participate, and there were quite a lot of views that were saying they support, and this process was long overdue. was also specific mention of filling of vacancies, thresholds, deposits, and also being able to look at the criteria for independence. There was also a submission that said there should be strict criteria and a proper threshold for independence, including that they should have some kind of track record or experience before contesting as an independent. There was also matters raised that does not relate to the bill, and that was the IEC and an overhaul of IEC and some of the concerns on corruption around the IEC. But there was also concerns about safety and for independence to be protected. Now those are things that don't form part of the amendment or the Electoral Amendment Bill. On the other hand, there were views that said we don't support this. And there were views that were saying that independent candidates are actually causing chaos, they're misleading communities, and they are creating bigger challenges because they are taking advantage of the vulnerable and the elderly and those who sometimes may not understand certain things. And they felt that independents were actually misleading communities. And there was a strong view that said we don't support it for those reasons because of what is happening, dividing communities. At this juncture, I want to tell you about the process or the way forward of how we proceed. So the committee will prepare a report after all of the hearings. It will then be presented to the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs. It will be discussed, deliberated, and then the committee will compile or make or reach some kind of consensus or decision on how the bill then proceeds to the National Assembly, where it then gets debated before we can then vote on it. Also remember that we have two houses of parliament, the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. So the bill will also go to the NCOP, and if the NCOP decides that they need to do further consultation with communities and public participation within provinces, then it means that they would open up that process for further public participation and contributions.
National Assembly and National Council of Provinces. National Assembly it will only be at that juncture that the bill will be finalized. kothi ke kubekho kuloo ndawo kubekho kweso sigaba apho athi kubekho ukhutshelwe lo mthetho oyilwayo emva kokuba izindlu zombini zepalamente ziye zabandakanyeka.
Let me take this opportunity on behalf of Parliament, on behalf of the Portfolio Committee, on behalf of fellow members that are here, to thank you, the community, for coming out in your numbers. Thank you for your submissions and your contributions to the public hearing. We also want to thank all the support staff. Thank you to all the entire team that's here. Thank you to honorable members, and our public hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much, and enjoy your weekend.